Hello everyone, it's me, DillysSims. Welcome back to my channel. Today is floor plan day. So I got this floor plan off of Google, where I normally get my floor plans, and I took, I was gonna say creative liberties, but a lot of creative liberties. So I was looking at the floor plans and I started to make it on a residential lot like this. And then I was looking at it and it says that there's a sauna. And then I was thinking, whoever owns a sauna must be very well off if they have their own personal sauna in their house. So I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do, and I thought this house would be better suited in a penthouse style apartment. Does that make sense? So as of right now, I'm building this house, this floor plan, on this residential lot, but in a few seconds you'll see that I'm gonna move it to an actual penthouse, and then it becomes a family penthouse. And then I was thinking, whoever owns a sauna must be very well off if they have their own personal sauna in their house. So I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do, and I thought this house would be better suited in a penthouse style apartment. Does that make sense? So as of right now, I'm building this house, this floor plan, on this residential lot, but in a few seconds you'll see that I'm gonna move it to an actual penthouse, and then it becomes a family penthouse, but instead of a door, there's an elevator. There's still a laundry room, and the laundry room, I didn't like the way the laundry room was set up, so I made it into a bathroom. A bathroom that has a toilet and sink in one room, and the shower, the bathtub / shower in the next room. Yeah, and I didn't like the roofing. If it was going to be a residential house, I really didn't like the roofing, because it's just like a long rectangle, so I didn't like the way it was going to turn out. So I feel like it was a much better idea to have this lot be a penthouse. And it's very nice, it's very spacious, I really like the way it turned out, and I still gave myself enough room for a little patio, which was great, because every family needs patio space, at least I think. So I have stories to tell you, stories that I've been sitting on for so long, like 4 or 5 days, but it feels like forever. So if you guys didn't know, last week many of my videos were pre-recorded because I went to Disneyland, and I have stories from Disneyland to tell you guys. So I was there for 3 days, and let me tell you, it is so magical. Like, coming back, I hate my life. I hate my life so much now that I'm back from Disneyland. I miss it so much. I was talking to one of my classmates about it, Disneyland, because apparently he goes often. And he was like, have you noticed that when you're at the park, you can't see anywhere outside the park? And I was like, whoa, Steve, you're right. I didn't even, like, that's something you don't really notice, obviously. And he was like, that's because Walt Disney designed it, so it would be like an escape from your everyday life. And I was like, whoa. My brain just exploded. I was like, no way, man. But yeah, I could see why he would do it, because it's so magical and beautiful, and then you come back to your everyday life and you're like, I have to work, and I have to pay bills, and I have to, yeah. Like, I came back to work, and okay, let me tell you about my job. And I know I talk about my job quite often, but every single time, I do not kid you, mostly every single time I request a day off of work or 2 days off of work, they punish me. Sam punishes me. The Sams of my life punish me by making sure the next shift after I come back from my day or days off is to have me work at 6 o'clock in the morning. Opening. every single time. I do not kid you when I say every single time. I had my best friend's wedding last year, and I requested like 2 or 3 days off, right? So it was to help her with the wedding, to set up for the wedding, and then the day after the wedding. And then when I came back to work, I guarantee you, I was there at 6. It was, I hate my life. I hate how they have to punish me because I want to have a life outside of work. But whatever, that's my own personal struggle. But back to Disneyland. Think about happy stuff, Dylan. Think about happy stuff, Dylan. So, I went to Disneyland, obviously. And what do I want to talk about first? The hotel was iffy. Apparently this whole video is just going to be me shitting on my own trip to Disneyland. But the hotel was iffy. Like, I went to the bathroom, and apparently when I was in the bathroom, my friends went to go wash their hands or brush their teeth or something, and like roaches started to come out of the drain, so they squirted like lotion into the drain to clog it. It was sorry, I'm still a little sick. It was a complete mess. Oh, and I was sick through Disneyland. I was sick the entire Disneyland trip, but it's fine. I still love Disneyland. I actually, truthfully being honest, I prefer Universal Studios over Disneyland. I just love movies so much, and I like to see how everything is made, but that's besides the point. So, the very first day I got to Disneyland, I was tired, because me and my best friend Heather decided, and this is when I was still sick, because I got sick right before Disneyland. Heather and I decided that it would be such a great idea to stay up late. No, not even stay up late. Stay awake the whole entire night before we go to Disney. So, let's put this into perspective. I am sick. I should be resting. But no. At 5:30 no. When did we leave for Disneyland? 3? Yeah, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I was still awake. I never went to sleep. Don't do that, guys. Just don't do it. Just go to sleep. If you're sick, go to sleep. Take a nap. Like, I went over to Heather's house, and we watched some horror movies. Heather did her makeup at, like, 11:30 because she was bored and had nothing else to do. And I went over to her house, and I played with her cats. I watched horror movies, ate some food. But, yeah, guys, don't do it. If you're sick, just take care of yourself. I wish that's something I would have done, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna stay up late. Horrible mistake. I only got like 2 hours of sleep before Disneyland, and that was in the car. And I got to Disneyland, and it was 106 degrees the very first day we were there. And so, like, the sun was pounding on me. I was so sick, and I was so tired, because obviously I didn't get any sleep, and I'm fighting off an illness, that I couldn't, like, walk straight. So my friends were like, oh my god, we have to get Dylan back to the hotel because he's gonna die. He's literally going to die. So I went back to the hotel and I took a nap, and it was like a 3 or 4 hour nap. It felt so good. I was so ready for Disneyland after that nap. But apparently, according to Heather, and I vaguely remember this, I don't want to say sleepwalked. Sometime when I was sleeping, because mine and Heather's bed were like right next to each other, my face was laying down on the pillow, like the side of my face, my left side, so my face was facing Heather's bed, and like I opened my right eye and stared at her apparently, and she was like talking to me, and I wasn't responsive, but I was still like breathing, and then I went back to sleep. Like, I vaguely remember looking at her, but she was like, she was like, Dylan, you look like you were possessed by the devil. And it was so bad. That's how tired I was, is that I was like sleep awake. I was just possessed by the devil. When I become so tired, I just become possessed by the devil, apparently. I didn't know that was an attribute about myself, but, you know, you learn stuff about yourself every day. And so then we went back to Disneyland. We walked around. We took a bunch of rides. And we stopped at this one restaurant in Disneyland, because for lunch we always ate at Disney. And it was, what was it called? It was like the Big Bear something rather, which it's right next to California Adventure. I could be getting all this wrong. I think it's right next to California Adventure, and it's right next to that one water ride where you like get on the log and it goes downhill. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Let me know in the comment section how stupid I am for not remembering rides. And we ate there. I got a like border turkey wrap. It was not good. The food at that specific restaurant was not good. I didn't care for it. And you know what? I'm just going to talk about the food for the next couple of minutes because I want to keep this somewhat organized. And then the second day for lunch, we went to the Blue Bayou, and that's a restaurant in Disneyland, of course. And it's connected to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. So when you're sitting down and eating, you're sitting down in the same place as the Pirates of the Caribbean ride is happening. So you're sitting there eating your dinner, or lunch. In our case, it was lunch. And people are riding on their fake boats in the bayou next to you. So they're getting a cute little like boat ride, and you're like stuffing your face. And the food was okay. I just don't care for seafood that much. But my friends wanted to go, so I went. And everything at Disneyland is so overpriced, especially food. The food was so overpriced, but that's also because they know that you can't, like, people don't want to leave Disneyland to go get their food, so they overprice you. Overcharge you. Overprice. They overcharge you. Which, I mean, I know everybody needs to make money, but still. It was just crazy overpriced. And they brought you, like, a drink. Like, you ordered your drink, and there's no alcohol in Disneyland, which, whatever. But they give you your drink, and then give you a fake little ice cube that goes in your drink, and it lights up, and you get to keep it at the end of the day. I have mine over there, and it was beautiful. And then on the third day, no, was it the third day? Was it the last day that we were at Disneyland? I think so, actually. On the third, yes it was. Yes it was. On the third day, we went to Ariel's Grotto, which was tons of fun. The food was like $40 for a 3-course meal. So you get your appetizer, which is like super salad, and you get your main course, and you get dessert. And everything, like my coworker, when I came back, I was talking to her about the food, and she was like, yeah, I was following you guys on Snapchat, and all your meals look super elaborate, because it's like one of those meals where you know, like in movies when you go to where people go to a fancy restaurant, and there's like a little piece of like tri-tip there, and it has some like leaves, and you know, it's very well put together. It was like one of those meals. Yes. And it was super delicious. But when we went to Ariel's Grotto, we also ran into Ariel the mermaid. And let me tell you, I went to Ariel's Grotto, and from what I understood, it was Ariel was having her princess party, and Ariel couldn't pay for me. I am shook. How come Ariel is a princess who is a princess 2 times over? She's a princess by birth, and she's a princess because she married a prince. How come she couldn't pay for my food? These are questions I have. Because, yeah, why can't she? But when, like I said, we went, and she was having her princess party. So we sat down, and princesses would come to our tables, and they would talk to us and hang out, and it was like tons of fun. And I get very taken aback because when I see a Disney princess or a person in a costume, I just see a person in a costume. I expect them to break character all the time. It doesn't matter who it is. Professional actor, I just expect them to break character. Maybe it's because I am taking a drama class right now, and no one in my drama class is a professional, and I think they all suck. No, just kidding, they don't all suck. A lot of them are really good. But I just expect them to not do super well. So, but yeah, when the princesses did their thing, I was very taken aback that none of them broke character. And I would tell people that, and they're like, but Dylan, it's their job. They can't break character. It's in their contract. I'm like, yeah, I understand. And I think it's magical that they don't break character because I expect them to. Does that make any sense? I hope it does. Yes, 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 yes. And, okay, so there were, which princesses did I meet? Let's see. Snow White. Oh my god, I have stories about Snow White. But let me go through the princesses first. So, it was Snow White, Belle, not Aurora, Snow White, Belle, Cinderella, Tiana, and we took a picture with Ariel when we first walked in, and she, like, thanked us for coming and whatever. And so, like, all the princesses came to those 4 princesses came to our tables, and we took pictures with them, and it was great. And Snow White, let me tell you guys, Snow White would not shut the hell damn up. She kept going and talking and talking and talking compared to all the other princesses, because all the other princesses would come to our table and they're like, hi, where are you from? Oh, is that far away? And like, after they'd say that, they'd be like, do you want to take a portrait with me? I'm sorry, I can't do voices right now because I'm sick, so if I hurt your ears right now trying to pretend to be a Disney princess, I'm so sorry. I just physically can't right now with my voice. And so, like, that's what all the princesses did, except Snow White. Snow White came to our table, and I was, like, shoving food into my mouth because I'm a fat pig. And she was like, oh, did I interrupt you? And she, like, touched my shoulder to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then she was, like, talking to us, and she's like, where are you from? And we told her where we were from. And oh my god, my friend Heather almost broke Snow White. It was so beautiful and amazing. It was so great. So she said, where are you from? And Kayla said Modesto. And she was like, oh, is that the kingdom you're from? And Heather was like, no, it's more like a shack or like a garage. And then Snow White stared at her for like 20 seconds, like dead silence. She stared at Heather like she didn't know what the hell she was supposed to say. Like, it was like Snow White wanted to break character but couldn't. So she stared at Heather and she was like, what the hell do I do? She was like having an internal monologue or something, like, what, oh my god, what do I say, what do I do? And it was just so magical that she almost broke Snow White. I laughed so hard. Snow White had like a little panic attack. And then, because if you don't know my friends, which none of you do, my friend Kayla has tattoos on her arms, and she used to be a baker. She bakes. She still bakes. And she has like food on her arm, and so she has a cherry pie. And Snow White was like, I really like your pie on your arm. And she was like, oh, thank you. And then she has a poison apple like also next to it, and she goes, I have a poison apple right here. And Snow White looked at me and she's like, oh, I had a poison apple once. It was not good. I almost died. And Kayla goes, oh, I just need to get it colored in. And she's like, oh, I know someone who could do it. What's that name? The girl who was entangled. Oh, Rapunzel. She's like, Rapunzel can do it. Rapunzel is such a good artist. And blah, 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 blah. And then she kept going. And she was like, I hired her to paint the door on my dwarf's cabin because it really needs to be repainted with a fresh coat of paint. And she just kept talking. And Kayla loves The Nightmare Before Christmas. So she was wearing Nightmare Before Christmas themed Mickey Mouse ears. And Snow White looked at her and she was like, oh, you really like our spooky friends, don't you? And she said some stupid shit. Let me tell you, she's about to say some stupid shit. And then she goes, oh, have you seen Jack Skellington? And Kayla was like, no, not yet. And she's like, oh, really? She's like, I have a question. If Jack Skellington is the Pumpkin King, does that mean he likes pumpkins? Or are pumpkins his friends? Or does he like them so much that he eats them? Because people do things differently there in the dark side. And I was like, okay, Snow White, You're talking about, like, eating your friends. I think we sufficiently broke you. Let's take it back a notch. And then we took pictures with her, and then she, like, skipped away to the next table because apparently Snow White only skips everywhere she goes. She doesn't walk like a normal human. She skips. And then the other princesses, you know, they came to our tables and were like, hey, do you want to take a picture? But in character, obviously. And they just asked us where we were from. And, okay, I had a problem with this, with Tiana, the princess from The Princess and the Frog, because if you watched her movie, she's a character from, like, the 50s, 60s era, and when she was talking to us, she said some really stupid shit, because, like, okay, to me it was stupid. It was stupid to me because the stuff she said didn't make sense to her, like, I don't want to say storyline, how do I put this? Like, her time period. Because we told her where we were from, Modesto, and she goes, oh, how far away is that? And we told her, you know, it's like 5 hours away. And she was like, how did you get here? The plane? No, what did she say? She said, how'd you get here? The magic pumpkin, the flying carpet, or the paddle boat, or not the paddle boat, what is it called? Steam Willie or some shit like that. And we were like, I looked at her and I was like, we drove. Because I was just like, you know what cars are. There were cars in the 1960s. And Kayla was like, the magic pumpkin. Because apparently Kayla knows how to speak Disney. And she was like, oh, okay. And then she's like, do you want to take a portrait with me? And I was like, okay. Again, there was flash photography during the 1960s when you were around. So why do you call it a portrait? Is it so you don't make the other princesses feel stupid? And then me and Heather were talking about it. And, like, what if she says all that because, like, the other princesses pick on Tiana? And she was like, oh, why don't we just take a car? And Cinderella's like, Tiana, what type of drugs are you on? There's no such thing as a car. Cars don't exist. What are those things? Like, I don't know what a car is. Do you know what a car is, Snow White? And Snow White's like, oh, I don't know what cars are. Oh my gosh, and Heather's so funny. She was like, do you guys ever think that, like, Snow White takes bites of poisoned apples and then spits them out just so she could get high off the, like, poison off the apple? I thought it was so funny. And then, like, what if she, like, shares the, like, poison with her Disney princess friends? You know? That would be so funny. And that is all the stories I can tell for today, guys, because we're getting close to the end of the video. And I'm going to do some housekeeping now. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, do all those fun YouTube things. Let me know if you come across a floor plan you want to see made, email it to me. My email's in the description below. And if you want to create anything for me to see, or if you want to create anything for any of my Let's Plays, tag it in the gallery with the hashtag DillysSims. And we all do. Anyways, I do also make fixer-uppers videos, so tune in on Thursdays for Fixer-Upper Day. And that is a day where I take a house that I find on the gallery, or you guys can make me houses, and they're like complete messes, and I fixer-upper them so they're like a good functional home for like a family, or whatever I could do with it, I do. Okay, and I'm going to leave this part off here, and I will see all of you guys next time. Bye, everybody.